In the spirit of black culture and championing our stories throughout history, I want to bring on my next guest. Her name is Kim Singleton. She's a poet, and she's the author of I Love My People. Kim, welcome to the show. It's so good to see you, my sister. Your book celebrates the many facets of black culture and the power of legacy. What inspired you to write it?
Well, one day I was sitting in the park on my many walks, and there were these young teenagers, young black men, joking on each other, and they were laughing hysterically, and they had me laughing. Then I saw a white couple come by, and they seemed to be have some hesitation. Were intimidated by passing these young men, and I just thought it was sad that they couldn't appreciate who they were and who we all were. And I just started thinking about what I loved about our people and how culturally enriching we are to everyone. So I just started writing things down, thinking about it, and wrote them down later. So that's what inspired me to write I Love My People.
Wow, and I love it. And the title, I mean, it's simple, but it's complex and it's powerful and it's beautiful and it sits with us and it resonates. You're a poet, and you use poetry to tell stories that we often don't hear about our history. And we also tell stories that we grew up hearing, but that the schools and the TV and the institutions don't like us to tell. Talk to me about your creative process. How do you get into that space to do that work and to ultimately put it into a book?
Well, like a lot of artists, we do things that inspire us, things that we experience throughout our lives. My parents, before I even got into kindergarten, they would put Black history books in my hand. And I was just so amazed by so many things that I read. And when I went to school, I realized that those stories weren't told. So that's what inspired me to write. I wanted to talk about the different things that we may not see in mainstream media or in the mainstream education. I hear stories from my elders. My mom grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and there was a thriving middle class, and the stories she told were just hilarious. So I think it's important that we put things on paper so that it's not lost as we go on. And that's what inspires me to write.
That makes so much sense. If we don't hold on to those traditions, they will go away. If we don't remind people of the moments, but also the people, those huge black history figures who mean so much to our tradition. If we don't hold on to them, they won't be held on to. Who are some of those figures that are featured in your work?
Well, I love Octavia Butler, who is a great science fiction writer. Of course, I love Neil
Ooh.
deGrasse Tyson, who is, I'm like a science buff.
You preaching my faves right now.
And I love the arts. I love old movies. We talk about Ruby Dee. We talk about Eartha Kitt. I love her. There's just so many people for us to look up to in the different fields. So I could go on and on forever, but those are some of my favorites.
How did you become you as a poet, as a writer, as visionary? How did you become you?
Well, it's a coping mechanism because, my background is really a finance person, engineer. That's what I got my degree in. And just being in corporate America, it has a way of trying to rob you from who you are. And so I started writing to stay in touch with my culture, stay in touch with the things that were important to me, stay in touch with things that were passionate about, that I was passionate about. So that's kind of what my journey was. And, I just love writing and expressing myself.
What a journey it's been, and it's resulted in I Love My People, which is a stirring affirmation. Before we go, tell the audience, tell the potential readers, why is this book so important at this time?
I think it's so important because it promotes unity, it promotes pride. It promotes love amongst our people. One of the things when I perform this poem at places, I get the audience to say, I love my people after every stanza. And usually at those events, the description I get is that this room was filled with so much love. And just love, Black people in the same room is just amazing to me.
Ain't nothing like it. You know why? Because we love our
Why?
people.
We love our people.
Kim, thanks for joining me. That's right. Kim, thanks so much for joining me. Everybody, make sure you check out the book. It's available everywhere online you buy books.